So just August 26th. Okay, I want to just read this article here for you. This happened in Pineville. This is Bell County, Eastern Kentucky. And I hate the way that this whole thing has been reported because it only shows the guy who killed himself. It doesn't talk about who the bailiff is. It doesn't talk about who the judge was. It doesn't talk about what the charges were, who the cops. It doesn't say anything about the situation at all. Erik Bo Barnett blows his fucking brains out, okay? So that's the lead, right? So the hearing is just before 11 Wednesday morning inside the Judicial Center. This is WKYT. So we know there's a hearing. Erik Bo Barnett, he's 25 years old. And he was in a drug court hearing, and the judge ordered him to be taken into custody. Who's the fucking judge? They don't fucking mention it. You got district court judges, circuit court judges, and neither one is mentioned. Now, I've looked at the names. You have Robert V. Costanza, and then you also have James L. Bowling Jr. So you got James L. Bowling Jr. and then Robert Costanza. One of these judges, we don't know. The way that they report this shit, it's almost like, he just went crazy, and we don't know why. What do you mean you don't know why? Let me read the report. Okay, so it says the judge ordered them to be taken into custody. Then Barnett was led by the bailiff into the elevator. There was a fight between Barnett and the bailiff. Barnett was able to get the bailiff on the ground, get the deputy's service weapon. Barnett then fired the weapon at himself, and he was pronounced dead at the scene by the Bell County coroner. And they said all this happened inside the close quarters of the elevator while the two were riding down to the basement, right down to the fucking basement where he was going to be oppressed. Now, I've been for a pot charge, actually. There was in Chicago, and they ordered me to go to jail for 3 days. And I was, going to go ahead and do it, but when it was a female bailiff, when she came over, she just jerked my arm, right? Instead of just saying, hey, let's go over here, she was like trying to be all, extra aggressive, unnecessarily aggressive. And, the oppression, the fucking oppression, you're killing their humanity. And you go into jail. I've also been raped in jail. I was raped in a Louisville jail. And Sean Delahunty, that's a fucking judge that keeps on saying, well, you're going to go to jail, and keeps on fucking, anyways. I think that the shit that I've gone, been in front of judges for have been very minor. They were misdemeanors and they were minor. I didn't hurt anybody, and regardless, so I totally feel in solidarity with Erik Bo Barnett, a 25-year-old man who lives in Pineville, 25. He was born in 1990, 8 years younger than me. A suicide, when someone kills themselves, they're saying that there's no hope for them. There's no hope for their life. He goes before the fucking judge. They tell him to go to fucking jail as he's being escorted by the bailiff, who the fuck is the bailiff? We're not told who the bailiff is. We're not told who the judge is. But when he's ordered to go into it, he's like, fuck it, there is no hope for me. Fuck it. And he blows his brains out. And this is after a drug court hearing, drug court. So he's doing drugs. We saved Erik Bo Barnett from himself. Is that what we did? We saved him from himself. No, evidently we didn't. In fact, we put oppression on him, and we're trying to fuck over his life. And, if you've ever been into a courthouse, it's usually poor people that get fucked over, and it's not, it's a system, but it's not criminal justice, it's a slaughterhouse. You go in front. I would even put there's blood on the hands of the judge and the bailiff and the circuit court judge and all the fucking officials, the cop who arrested him. Everybody that's associated with Erik Bo Barnett should be held to account for what they fucking did to him. When there's a suicide, that is when society breaks down. You have Emil Durkheim on suicide. He is the father of sociology, and he wrote this book on suicide and shows that when people kill themselves, that is when society has broken. Society broke down. You don't see, deers fucking killing themselves. You don't see rabbits killing themselves. Nature wants to live. So because we have consciousness and the oppression, and you can't vision a world of freedom and decency, you say, fuck it. So that is society breaking down, and it's bullshit. I'm so fucking, I'm pissed off about this. But okay, we do know that Mr. Barnett was not handcuffed, said the Kentucky State Police Trooper Shane Jacobs. That's the point. That's the angle that they have. Well, the problem is we didn't oppress him quick enough. We didn't put the fucking handcuffs on him, so he wasn't able to do anything to anybody. And I think that's so fucked up. That's the angle. That's what we're talking about. They take a perspective. They've hidden the bailiff. They've hidden the judge. They've hidden the cop who arrested him. They've hidden every fucking person involved in this case, except for the man who's dead now. The man who is dead. The police say court security officer wasn't hurt, but he was traumatized. So again, the bailiff, he could have been a nice fucking guy about it. I don't know. The judge is a dick. He's ordered him into fucking, the judge sits up on high, and they probably feel like, they got their little militia. They got their gun thugs. Hey, order him into court. He's going to jail, and usually it has nothing to do with guilt. It has to do with, he looked you in the eye, or he had, some tone of voice where it was disrespectful. So police said the court security officer was not hurt, but he was traumatized by it. Oh, boo-hoo, bailiff is traumatized. I'm fucking traumatized by this shit too, because of the fucking bailiff, because of the judge, because of the police officer who had arrested him for drugs. It's a public health issue. The war on drugs has not succeeded. Now he's a healthy young man. Look at him. Look at his face. He seems like a fucking good guy. I don't know what would be, did he hurt somebody? I would love to know the charges. They don't fucking tell the entire story, and then they say, oh, well, the state police are investigating. Get the fuck out of here, man. The sheriff will review procedures for how they transport people. Oh, is that what they're going to fucking do now? Yeah, okay, so they're just going to get more efficient. When the judge orders a person to be, ordered to go to jail, everybody surrounds him, throws him on the ground, beats the shit out of him, maybe break his hands. If you break his hands, you can't do nothing then, right? And then make sure you put the handcuffs on him, and then you drag him into, man, fuck you all. This is, the lack of, outrage about this also kind of pisses me off, too. Okay, so I found out a little bit more information about this. I want to talk a little bit about who Erik Bo Barnett was, and then talk about the public officials. I'm going to give you a synopsis of what the fuck I think went down. May 18th, 2015, so in May, he was arrested. There's gotmugshots.com. It don't even have his picture or anything in it, but it does say Erik Bo Barnett, white male, got the arrest number, arrest date, says he's 24 years old, lives in Pineville. Brown hair, brown eyes, weighs 235 pounds, 6'3". That's probably the fucking crime right there. He's a big man. He's a big fucking dude. And it's the Bell County Detention Center. Booking date, May 18th, 2015, and 2 o'clock. This is 13:09, so that's 1 o'clock, 1:09 p.m. So there's something pretty nice here. Brooks Durham Funeral Home. They went ahead and they got one of the teachers has actually posted a little message for Erik Bo Barnett, so we can get the type of character. You look at the guy's face. Is he a bad fucking guy? So Erik Bo Barnett was born June 14th, 1990, and then he dies August 26, 2015 on Wednesday. So that's the funeral home, Brooks Durham. There was a candle. Someone lit a candle for him. I guess, I don't know if they paid for it, if they just typed it in, but Dr. Elizabeth Denny. So Mrs. Elizabeth Denny had, Erik Bo Barnett in class. So here's what she says about Erik Bo Barnett. My dearest Beau. They call the man Beau? My heart was broken and I wept at the news of your passing. You were one of the most precious students I had the privilege to know. How I always remember your sweet smile and gentle spirit, your playful personality, your kindness. My heart aches for those closest to you who loved you so much. I know life will never be the same without you. I thank God there's a place of eternal healing and rest beyond this life, and one day I will see you there. Until then, my friend, I will remember you. It's beautiful. His sweet smile. He's a precious student. Gentle spirit, playful personality, and his kindness. Y'all, the motherfuckers, Bell County officials just murdered a good fucking man. They killed a good fucking man. And they were going to put him in jail for a year. So I got a little bit more information about the incident, but it just says every article that I wrote, every single article didn't say who the judge was, didn't say who the arresting officer, didn't say what the charges was. They didn't say any of that shit. In Breckinridge County, you got Shan Embry and you got that fucking fat fucking county attorney. They work in tandem together. I had I asked a principal to take a step outside because he was being a dick to me, and they wound up having like 5 different trials in court. I had to go to fucking, court like 5 different times. And even though I had an attorney, they first called me in, where you at? Well, it's a pre-trial hearing. I got an attorney. Tell whatever the fuck it is you got to tell him because, I'm taking this to trial. I don't know what y'all want to do. They just want to keep fucking badgering and wasting your goddamn time. But I go in there, and then they made me take a fucking piss test. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? And then later on, the fucking fat fucking, county attorney, he was late. He did the same, supposed, violation or whatever that I had done. Did they make that fat fucker take a piss test? Of course not. So you got the district judge, Shan Embry, and then you got the prosecuting attorney, whatever that fat fucking Republican dickhole is, sitting there playing this little game. That's the prosecutor says, he's guilty. Judge says, fuck your life. And then everybody just goes along with this shit. The clerks were assholes. Everybody was a fucking dick. Everybody, fuck Breckinridge County. Breckinridge County, y'all can suck my fucking dick. And, there was one good neighbor. I liked one of my set of neighbors. They was an older man and woman. But everybody else, I fuck you guys. You guys are fucking pricks. Your leaders suck. And you all either allowed them to get voted in, y'all don't do shit about it, you don't fucking, but whatever. Fuck you, Breckinridge County fucking dicks. Anyways, my point being, I went into court that had nothing to do with drugs, nothing to do with the drug charge. And yet they was trying to get me locked up. So that means if I was to, if I had just, did some meth that fucking day, I'm going to get fucked over because, they need to watch me take a piss. And then I would have to been thrown into fucking jail over something, they couldn't get me with the one crime, so they try to get me with something else. And I even had an attorney say that's just what backwoods fucking country-ass courthouse people do. They make up their own shit, and it's the building. They're all fucking locked down and shit. It's their fucking space. It's not for the people, and so I feel for this fucking guy. Here's what I think went down. They said that he had a drug court sentence was terminated. So they had said, he was arrested in May, and so I guess he got sentenced, and then he had to take a piss test, and he failed the fucking piss test. And this is what I'm guessing, okay? I'm trying to fill in the spaces. And the judge, I will guess it's the district court judge, went ahead and put Barnett into custody for a year. For a year, this motherfucker has to go to fucking jail. Well, you know why that's a big problem for Mr. Erik Bo Barnett? Well, guess what? Mr. Erik Bo Barnett's a fucking daddy. He's a daddy and a husband. So he was born June 14th, 1990 to Rick and Mary Barnett. That's his parents. He was preceded in death by his brother, Derek Clyde Barnett. So this family just had tragedy after tragedy. Grandmother Abby Carroll and grandfather Clyde Barnett were also, their grandparents who had died. Survivors include his loving wife, Christina Morgan Barnett. Did they give a shit to the fucking district court judge? Who are these district court judges? You have, was the fucking, Neil Ward, I'm guessing, y'all didn't fucking, the fucking newspapers, there's probably about a dozen articles about this, and none of them mention who the fucking judge is, none of them mention who the prosecuting attorney was, none of them mention who the bailiff was who was in that fucking elevator. Instead, we just take the bailiff's words as the gospel truth, and then they told, the sheriff calls the Kentucky State Police, and then the Kentucky State Police eventually tells the media, and then the media just repeats whatever the Kentucky State Police had said. The KSP wasn't there. Neither was the sheriff. It was just the bailiff and Erik Bo Barnett. And to the world, if you say the name, he's still alive. So say Erik Bo Barnett forever. Do remember him. Just like that teacher. Do remember that sweet, sensitive, nice gentleman. You know who's not gentlemen? These fucking cops on topics. They're sitting there saying how the sheriff's office is being overly ambitious, just fucking everybody over for, all the dumbest offenses. And then they also mentioned that nobody's running against the accountant or the county attorney. It's a lawyers club. Only certain people can get into the lawyers club. So my guess is it was Robert V. Costanzo. You know, Robert V. Costanzo is the district judge, being a prick, who said, fuck your life. Robert V. Costanzo said, fuck your life, Mr. Erik Bo Barnett. Go to jail for a year, even though you got fucking kids. I never even got to that. He's got a wife, you know, Christina Morgan Barnett, and daughters. Presley Capri Barnett, Kylie Gabrielle Barnett, Amaya June Barnett, and Ava Reisner. Son, Waylon Bo Barnett. He's got 5 fucking kids. 5 fucking kids. Did that fucking Cavuto, the Costanza, what the fuck is his name? Did he give a shit? Robert V. Costanzo. Did Robert V. Costanzo give a fuck that he's got 5 fucking kids? He didn't give a shit. He did not care. He's a family man. He's a husband. Nah, go to fucking jail. And I'm guessing it's over pot. Fuck the bullshit, you know? Hey, he's got, what, a big fucking meth operation and shit? He's a nice, gentle man, is what the teacher says. And so, you know, he smoked a little bit of pot, got fucking busted for it. Now his life is fucked. They're going to throw him in jail for a year. He failed his piss test. They probably made him do a fucking piss test while he was in court. Now his whole life is fucked, you know, at least for a year. He's in jail, probably going to get raped by the fucking jailers. These motherfuckers don't know shit about justice. Justice. Who's going to get justice for Erik Bo Barnett? You fucked up his life, and he said, fuck it, I can't deal with this shit, I can't deal with it. And then he hit the fucking, you know, bailiff, him and the bailiff got into it, and so now what happens? Now what happens, right? If the fucking jailers or the bailiffs are being violent to you as a human being, you say, oh, I don't want to get hit, and then you push him down. Oh, now it's assault of a police officer. He's in there for 1 year for a pot. Now assaulting a fucking police officer. He's never going to get out of jail. So this Robert V. Costanzo fucked over this guy's life. The sheriff's office, whoever the fucking sheriff was that actually, you know, whichever one of the deputies actually fucked him over. Maybe Joe Quellen. I don't know, they're talking about here, the Polygraph News, something about the drug task force executed a drug buy bust. There's undercover officers, and then once they fucked Henry Sean Gibson over at Pineville, once he bought the drugs from these undercover, that's entrapment, right? He's going around selling fucking drugs. If there wasn't a fucking dealer, maybe he wouldn't have fucking bought the shit, but they're sitting there trying to trick and fuck everybody's life over, and, you know, and he's a family man. He's got 4 daughters. He's got a son. Does Neil Ward give a shit? Did Neil Ward give a fuck about this guy's life? No, he just cares about his own career. How much money do these motherfuckers make? Neil Ward, the county attorney, he's making, you know, what, $50,000 to $100,000. The goddamn fucking district court judge, Robert V. Costanzo, he's making $120,000. Costanzo makes $120,000 to fuck over the Erik Bo Barnetts of the world. $120,000 to fuck over the good people of Kentucky? Fuck you. Fuck Robert Costanzo. And fuck Neil Ward. There's no fucking justice in that court. And fuck the media. Y'all didn't even fucking mention these fucking people's names. And I'm only guessing it, right? I'm just a guy. Don't even fucking, slander. Fuck you. This is, I told you, I'm speculating. You didn't tell me, you left my imagination. So it's either James L. Bowling Jr., who's circuit court judge. Could be. That's the felonies and shit. Maybe they try to fucking put a felony on the guy. But I think it's Robert V. Costanzo, and I think it was Neil Ward who fucked the guy over. And then the bailiff, I don't even know who the fucking bailiff is. It could be anybody. So that's, you know, that's what Kentucky does to its own people. Is there any outrage? Does anybody fucking speak up? Is anybody saying that this shit is bullshit? And that's a white man. You know, this Nelson County Sheriff was like, we're glad we, you know, killed a white man because we don't want no trouble. White people don't give a fuck about ourselves. Maybe we don't know our rights. Maybe there is no rights. You fucking demonstrate in front of the fucking courtroom, then they'll, you know, piss test you or something. Find something, they'll give you some trumped up charges, and now you're, you know, you're looking at fucking time because you got a corrupt judge, a corrupt sheriff, a corrupt county attorney. So he was led from the courtroom by a Bell County bailiff. Don't know who it is. It did mention, you know, Bell and Surrounding County News Facebook page that he was put into custody for a year. And so, you know, I totally feel for this fucking guy. He's a family man looking at fucking a year in jail when he needs to provide for his kids. And if he was dealing, maybe he was dealing so he could put food on the table for his kids. You know, in Eastern Kentucky, unemployment is like 20 to 30% right now. There isn't any jobs. Looking at a year in jail, now he just knocked the bailiff, fucking got roughed with him, and then, you know, the bailiff fell over. Now he's looking at assault of a fucking public official. Man, these motherfuckers only know how to fuck people's lives over. They don't understand justice. What good for the goose, good for the gander. If one person hits another, that's a crime. But if, you know, the fucking guy hits him back, then that's, you know, I don't know. I just, this whole thing just really fucking gets to me. And the way it was reported and the lack of fucking, you know, this is bullshit. You lost a good member. You know, Bell County, Kentucky, you lost a good member of society. I don't look at the guy's face. I don't see a bad man at all. He said that it was the sweetest smile, gentle, nice, decent. You know, he lost hope. He had no hope. You know, he got into it with the bailiff in the fucking elevator, and instead of actually, if anything, Erik Bo Barnett showed mercy, whereas the fucking judge and the lawyers and the bailiff did not. He showed mercy. He had the gun in his hand. He could have fucking took them all out. He could have hurt every one of them. But he didn't. Instead, he said, fuck my own life, put the pistol in his head, and blew his fucking brains out. R.I.P. Erik Bo Barnett. R.I.P. my man. It says his parents, Rick and Mary Barnett, grandfather Edgar Carroll, and grandmother Ola Barnett. These are all the ones that are still living. So he's got one male son, 4 daughters, and a wife now left at home because of the fucking Neil Wards and the goddamn, you know, and what is Costanzo? What the fuck is that? Robert V. Costanzo. Costanzo, like, is he fucking Eastern European, or is he a gypsy? Neil Ward's this old bowling guy, got a fucking bald head and shit with the wards. Oh, look, I got an award. And there's one more issue I'll mention, too, that county attorneys love to do when it comes to child support payments. Yeah, you need to be financially obligated to your kids. I agree with that. But the county attorney gets a little bit of money. Whenever they could find, they get a little bit of a piece of that. They get a little piece of that fucking paycheck. So not only are they making fucking 70-something grand a year, but they're also taking fucking money away from the fucking people that they fuck over. And so, you know, the lawyer class, the court party, they're doing okay for themselves. Kentucky's got 1 million poor people, but if you're a fucking lawyer, you're a fucking judge, you're a parasite. Your entire fucking life is being paid by the taxpayers, and you're fucking over the taxpayers. And evidently not the ones who vote, right? Just the poor, dumb, poor ones who don't fucking vote. So, R.I.P. Erik Bo Barnett. Viva la Revolution, Kentucky.
Why do we care?
Che Guevara and revolutionaries cannot save us. The people have to save themselves. We have to save ourselves. There is no future. There's no past. There's only now. There's only now. Long walk to freedom. Nelson Mandela. Viva la Revolución.